So what we call the digital humanities, which is the general topic or subject that we are dealing with in this course of lectures and presentations, is in some sense or comes out of trying to cope with what I would like to call the digital condition or the condition of digitality, which, as I think will be evident from the examples that we have just seen, is not something that we choose, but something that we find ourselves in as ordinary people going about our ordinary day-to-day tasks. We find ourselves constantly negotiating digital technology, and this is what I call the condition of digitality. Looking a little more closely at our subject, I think that one would find that our experience of the humanities, however one thinks of it, the humanities, whether we think of the study of literature, of music, or cinema, or the visual image, are all shaped by, and in some profound sense mediated by, digital technology. And it's not just whether we use computers in our daily life, that's to say in our general academic pursuits, whether we use computers regularly or whether we don't use computers or use other means, whether we are more comfortable dealing with online repositories or whether we are more comfortable going to a brick and mortar library and sitting there taking out books and reading them. It's not really a simple question of choice, because the methods of research and study that we encounter in the humanities today are clearly shaped by digital means or digital technologies. The libraries that we use, the resources that we access, the forms of communication that we use in day-to-day life habitually involve digital means. And even when we consciously try to avoid them, but like many people that you and I may know, who almost as a protest still use pen and paper, read printed books, use card catalogs. Just think that the books that we read, if they are printed within the last 15 years, are likely to have been created or produced by using either wholly or to a great degree digital means. That's to say, most books today are printed only after they have been fully generated as a digital object, not before that. It's not as if there are handwritten, typewritten texts which are digitized by entering them into the computer, but scholars write books on the computer, they send them by email or such other means to the publisher, who edits them using a digital editing platform, sends it back to the scholar, who looks over it, and when it's fully done, then it's sent to the book designer, who puts it all together, and there is a digital object. And then that is rendered into paper and ink and color and physicality. So in some sense, the example of the book is interesting because the book is where the physical object comes at the end of a series of digital processes. And this is most of the books that have been published in the last 15 years, perhaps a little more, perhaps a little less, but many of the books that we use in day-to-day activity are entirely created by the use of digital means. But I think that as students of the humanities, we also need to be aware that the forms of study that are possible for us are shaped by the technologies of knowledge that exist at any point in history. And we are aware that these technologies of knowledge, if we can call them that, change from age to age. The coming of the printed book, for instance, or earlier means of mechanical reproduction of sound or image, are new possibilities which emerged at particular points in history. I've often felt that when such earth-shaking or fundamental changes occur in the way in which knowledge is organized, in which knowledge can be disseminated, in the way in which cultural objects or cultural data can be recorded or shared by many people. Now, these moments appear to us to be somewhat miraculous, or they are experienced as being miraculous. The book, for instance, which superseded the manuscript, suddenly made it possible for literally hundreds of people to read the same text simultaneously. Similarly, when the photograph came, it was thought to be something marvelous. Over time, these things sink into, if you like, the general practices of daily life, and nobody thinks that they are particularly marvelous or particularly miraculous. If you have a book, it's just a book. It's not a miracle. Or if you have a cassette or a CD, it's just that, nothing more than that. But the example of digital technology, which is likely to be the next fundamental change, the great change in the technology of knowledge that we have experienced in the last 20 years or so in our country, perhaps a little more than that, perhaps 30 years in our country, and perhaps a few decades worldwide, is still fairly new to us, and some of its possibilities appear when they become visible. They appear to have a particularly, should I say, a particularly magical feel to them. But on the other hand, something very interesting is happening, where in a far more quiet way, in a far more almost unobserved way, we are becoming attuned to the daily use of digital technology, which is often masked by the fact that we don't recognize that they are there. We went to the bank before, we went to the bank, we go to the bank now. Earlier, the bank clerk used to enter everything in a register, now he just punches it into a computer. And as the end user, we don't really feel much of a difference, apart from this frequent, irritating wait for the computer to start working again, and people will tell you there's a server error or the network has gone, things like that, which are new words that we have become familiar with because they are part of this new environment, because they are part of this new economy